The year was 1993. Families all around the United States are talking about Jurassic Park and watching Boy Meets World. And Pokemon is still 3 years away from taking the world by storm. But this year, there would be something new that would be released. It was the first ever trading card game known as Magic the Gathering. And in this video, we'll be talking about the first sets to be released called Limited Edition, Alpha, and Beta. But before that, let's go back to the beginning. There was one man born in Philadelphia named Richard Garfield, and in 1991, he was searching for a publisher for the game he developed called Robo Rally, which he designed in 1985. One company that he went to was a young company known as Wizards of the Coast. As for the game Robo Rally, it was turned down by Wizards of the Coast because the game was deemed too expensive to produce. But founder of Wizards of the Coast, Peter Adkison, liked Garfield's work and offered him the opportunity to invent a game that was both portable and quick playing. Garfield decided to jump at this opportunity, to which Adkison would set up a new corporation called Garfield Games, and Garfield would begin work on this new game. While working on this new game, Garfield decided to go back to an old game he created called Five Magics, but apply the concept to collectible colored themed cards, where the player could create their own identity by building a customizable deck. Garfield took the idea to Seattle, where Wizards of the Coast was based, and told Adkison about his idea, to which Adkison would write on a Usenet post, "If executed properly, the cards could make us millions," and immediately agreed to produce the cards. Garfield would then head back to Pennsylvania to start work on this game, where he designed the game's core rules and about 150 of the original cards. The game would be centered around 5 colors of the 5 magics, which would be green for nature, wildlife, connection, spirituality, and tradition. White for peace, law, structure, selflessness, and equality. Blue for knowledge, deceit, caution, deliberation, and perfection. Black for power, self-interest, death, sacrifice, and uninhibitedness. And red for freedom, emotion, action, impulse, and destruction. The original cards were based on using available copyrighted art that were copied to paper to be tested by volunteers at the university. 6 months later, Garfield had refined the game and began to write the narrative of the game, and set it in the multiverse of Dominia, a place with infinite planes where wizards could draw power from land and vast amount of creatures would roam. Garfield would draw inspiration from games like Cosmic Encounter, and specifically Dungeons and Dragons, with one of Magic's golden rules which states, whenever a card's text directly contradicts these rules, the card takes precedence. This game was simply called Magic, but after some legal consultation, the game would be changed to Magic the Gathering, which would allow them to trademark the game. Limited Edition Alpha premiered in a limited release at Origins Game Fair in July of 1993, and would later have general release on August 5th, 1993. The Alpha set had 295 cards, of 74 common cards, 95 uncommon, 116 rare, and 10 basic lands, with a print run of 2.6 million cards, which ended up selling out very quickly, resulting in another run of cards to be printed in October of the same year, and was called the Limited Edition Beta Set, with most of the same cards in the set, but with 2 additional cards that were not ready in time for the print for the Alpha run, which were the Circle of Protection Black and Volcanic Island. And the beta set would also include new illustrations for 5 basic land cards. This was done so they could say the set had over 300 cards. And one other noticeable difference between the 2 sets was a mistake that was corrected in the beta set, which were slightly less rounded corners on the cards which has been the standard ever since. The beta set would have a run of either 7.3 or 7.8 million cards, with 75 common cards, 95 uncommon, 117 rare, and 15 basic land cards, which ended up selling out just as quick as the alpha set. Now that we have the story, let's get into the cards. I will go through the top 5 cards of alpha and then the top 5 of beta based on the market price value from lowest to highest. Let's get started with alpha. Card number 5 is Mana Short. The rarity is rare. It is an instant card that taps all of your opponent's mana and also empties their mana pool. This card was illustrated by Damian Willich and its current market price is $600. Card number 4 is Sleight of Mind. It is an interrupt card that allows you to change any color of a spell card in play. The card's rarity is rare. It was illustrated by Mark Poole and has a current market price of $626. Card number 3 is Hypnotic Spectre. It is a summon spectre. Its rarity is uncommon and it is a 2/2 creature card. It has flying ability, and if it damages you, then you must discard a card from your hand. The quote on the card says, "There was no trace of aught on the illuminated face," and the card was illustrated by Douglas Schuler. The card's current market price is $675. Card number 2 is Granite Gargoyle. It is a summon gargoyle. Its rarity is rare, and is a 2/2 creature card. It has a flying ability, and if you tap your red mana, you get +0/+1 until the end of a turn. The quote says, "While most overworlders fortunately don't realize it, gargoyles can be most delicious, proving you have the appropriate tools to carve them." The card was illustrated by Christopher Rush and currently has a market price value of $900. And the number 1 card for the alpha set is Disrupting Scepter. It is a mono artifact and its rarity is rare. When this card is played, it makes your opponent discard 1 card of his or her choosing. This card was illustrated by Dan Frazier and has a current market value of $1,000. The beta set. Card number 5 is Demonic Tutor. It is a sorcery card. Its rarity is uncommon, and it allows you to search your library for 1 card, then you must reshuffle your library afterward. This card was illustrated by Douglas Schuler and has a current market price of $714. Card number 4 is Mana Vault. It is a mono artifact. Its rarity is rare. The card gives you 3 colorless mana. For a cost, you must pay up to 4 mana to untap. If you do not untap, then you lose 1 life. This card was illustrated by Mark Tedden and has a current market price of $1,600. Card number 3 is Mind Twist. It is a sorcery card and has a rarity of rare. This card makes your opponent discard X amount of cards from their hand, and if they do not have enough cards in their hand, they must discard their hand. This card was illustrated by Julie Barrow and has a current market price of $1,700. Card number 2 is Plateau. It is a land card and has a rarity of rare. This land card counts as both mountain and plains and is affected by spells that affect either. This card was illustrated by Drew Tucker and has a current market price of $2,200. And lastly, card number 1 is Underground Sea. This card is a land card, and its rarity is rare. This card counts as both swamp and island, and this card was illustrated by Rob Alexander and has a current market price of $6,000. In conclusion, I think any of us who love the game Magic the Gathering need to thank these 2 men for bringing trading card games into the world and giving a lot of us around the world hours of countless fun playing these games. And most of all, I'd like to thank anyone who took the time to watch this until the end, and would greatly appreciate it if you click the like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more. Thank you.